As I say, we are moving through our guests at a rate of knots. We've got Ben coming. Hiya, Ben. Good to see you, mate. Let me give you a microphone, and we'll have a little chat about. We're going to talk. Well, it's funny enough, it's BVE, and everybody's talking about this, isn't it? And that's 4K.
That's right. Yeah. That's a big thing. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, I've got a couple of little notes here because we've got some questions that people have always been asking us, and we thought we'll pass these on to you. One of the questions is, we thought we'd just fire them at you and see how you do. So I don't know whether you know these are coming or not. As far as sharing 4K files, these files are massive. And now, is it possible to share these files? So you've got a work group of people. How you know? I can understand with H.264 files and other things like that, but 4K are massive files. Is it possible to share these files within a work group, for example?
Yeah, absolutely, it is possible. You'll probably find that most solutions are local storage, but we have a range of super tier 1 products that are very much aimed at 4K and 2K shared usage, and actually work with DPX image sequences, which is quite unique in a shared environment.
Right, so you have solutions that allow you to share this 4K content. I mean, is it going to be as slick as, say, sharing HD content, which obviously is a lot smaller files compared to 4K? Would you say you still get the same sort of experience?
It's certainly more difficult because you're looking at larger files with higher bandwidth, and once you start looking at image sequences, you have a whole different access in terms of the hard drives. So yeah, it is more difficult, but we previously had a top tier 1, as most people talk about, and we've kind of reinvented that and gone above that. So what we call super tier 1 is a wholly SSD-based shared storage.
So as far as the storage is concerned, there's sort of 2 different kinds, there's SAN and NAS. If people don't know, for start, say, could you let us know what the difference is between a SAN and a NAS, and what should they go for? I mean, what's the options here?
I mean, I've come from a background of installing SANs. It used to be the way that it had to be done. What's happened in recent years is Ethernet has become more and more prolific. NAS architectures, such as the one we use, are more and more commonplace. The big difference really is SAN is a block level access that requires management and all sorts of complications on top of it. It also requires driver software, client software, you know, licensing, etc., etc. So certainly from an ease of use point of view, and actually looking after it, a NAS is far preferable.
So just clear, a NAS is a network addressed storage, and it uses effectively network connectivity between the client and where the storage is.
Basically we're looking at 1 gig Ethernet and 10 gig Ethernet. And because 10 gig Ethernet is so fast, it kind of asks the question really, do we need fiber channel? Do we need to use all of these other connections? You can do it with Ethernet, and actually you don't need to run a SAN architecture such as iSCSI. If it's properly deployed and it's designed to work in this industry, NAS can very much work, and it does for us.
Brilliant. Now, obviously, all these RAID arrays and things, obviously, what they are, storing all this data. I've seen some people knocking up RAID arrays with SSDs. Is obviously SSDs are fast. Are they suitable for RAID arrays nowadays?
I mean, you basically have to bear in mind that SSDs are expensive. They're relatively small capacity compared to spinning disks, but we now have 600 gig drives, we have 480 gig drives, and the ones that are suited to be used in RAID, such as the ones that we use, you can use them, lots of them together, and get great results. A lot of the systems that we provided to the Olympics were purely SSD based, and yes, it's absolutely possible. You just need to know the limitations. I mean, generally our storage works in different tiers, so that you can use the correct storage for the correct usage. So having an SSD storage for your very high bandwidth stuff, and also having big spinning disk arrays, kind of plays to their strengths. So we can shuffle data between them, and people can use the premium storage for the very high bandwidth stuff, and they can keep the other tiers of storage for other kind of work, or just storing it.
Gotcha. So you mentioned storing it at the end. This is sort of the last question I've got, is 4K files are going to big. What's the how do you store these things long term?
Well, interestingly, with the industry going tapeless, what it's actually meant is the archiving tape format, such as LTO, has actually grown in popularity.
Right.
We've seen a big rise in that. LTO is very much an ideal format to store on. It has a 30-year guaranteed shelf life. 2 years ago, we developed a whole back-end system for BBC Archives, which is purely LTO-based, and it repurposes all of our old aging film and TV that's held at BBC Archives in Perivale, and it's creating LTO libraries that future-proofs all of that great footage. We, on our LTO products, also have image sequence awareness, which a lot of the problems when you deal with lots and lots of files in an image sequence is it's hugely intensive in terms of processing and thinking about it even before it writes a tape. So our systems are very much aware of DPX or TIFF or image sequences as a whole, and we can have them set up to create single archive files that do it highly efficiently.
Brilliant. Well, Ben, thank you for coming on. Now, you work obviously for GB Labs, who are exhibiting here. I'm going to test you now. Do you know whereabouts you are?
There's a big free Wi-Fi hub and seating area just around the corner. That's our stand for the last 3 days. If you want to come along and have a look at it, obviously gblabs.com is another place that you can check out.
Excellent.
The first show of many this year will be at CabSat in a couple of weeks and on to NAB. So
might see you at NAB. We'll be there as well. Ben, thank you very much for coming on. It's been brilliant. Thank you very much. And if you want to go and see them, obviously they're over that way somewhere, I think it was. And obviously gblabs.com is their web address. Go and have a look there. You'll find out everything you need to know about storing and archiving 4K.